All right, let's bring you other news we're tracking this afternoon. Border Management Authority officials say they have their hands full today. Scores of travellers are expected to be cleared at the Lebombo border post between South Africa and Mozambique. The BMA says it won't be focusing only on clearing travellers, but will also clamp down on cross-border crime, which includes drug smuggling and illegal immigration. Newzroom Afrika's Mweli Masilela is tracking that story for us. Mweli, good afternoon to you once again. And perhaps this Easter holiday, Mweli, Mozambique is even more of an attraction for those who perhaps want to visit the country, just given the election violence that prohibited any travel just some months ago.
Yes, Michelle, that election violence caused a lot of trouble for many Mozambicans as they were now a bit reluctant to even travel home, especially those working on the South African side. But when we speak to some of them at the present moment, they are saying that the situation is no longer the same. Things are a bit calm at the present moment, which makes them to be now keen to go back home and visit their families. But looking into the update from the Border Management Authority, Michelle, just some quick stats. They told us that in the past 24 hours, they've been able to clear more than 16,000 people who were crossing between South Africa and Mozambique using the Lebombo border post. But of course, as they are keeping an eye also on some criminal activities, yesterday they managed to intercept about 36 people who were crossing into South Africa illegally. And of course, there was that deportation process that had to get underway. But also, they mentioned that yesterday there was a bit of a problem in as far as the clearing of trucks is concerned because of a long queue that was building up, but they managed to deal with that within a space of 3 hours. About 1,600 trucks, Michelle, that was cleared yesterday. But at the present moment, as you can see on my right, there's now a queue of trucks building up here. In fact, it's a stretch of about 3 kilometers from here at the border post along the N4 toll route, which tells you that things are starting to change at the present moment, as authorities, Michelle, made it clear that the expectation is that by around 2 p.m. we'll start to see these traffic volumes picking up. But then, of course, the border management officials are on the ground, not only trying to control the issue of traffic, but also keeping an eye, because as we are here with my colleague Katleko, we saw some of those people who are attempting to get into South Africa illegally, especially coming from the Mozambican side. But as much as we've seen quite a number of light motor vehicles heading to Mozambique from the South African side, what we are seeing is that at least there's a lot of pedestrians, those people who are walking from the South African side into Mozambique. And the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Michelle, told us that most of the people who are crossing into South Africa from Mozambique are people who are actually here to buy some items and head back home. But let's just take a listen to what the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority had to say about the processing of cargo here at the Lebombo border post, as well as light motor vehicles between South Africa and Mozambique.
Within the bypass, we have actually introduced the second lane. So when the trucks actually arrive in the bypass, one truck, they go on the other side and the other trucks go on the second side. So we actually have 2 lanes. On the other side, we actually brought in a truck, which we have actually stationed out there, where we have put in the immigration and customs official to be able to process the trucks as they come through into the port. So that on its own has brought a lot of efficiency, because instead of them using 1 lane, they use 2 lanes to exit the port into Mozambique. So from where we are sitting, we don't think that we will see the level of congestion that we have seen last year. Secondly, we are going to activate kilometer 7 around 1400 hours, where we are going to co-locate with the Mozambicans. That is where we are going to put to process all the people with small vehicles. Here in the port, as you will know, we actually have a place where we process people that are pedestrians. So all that dissection has actually assisted in terms of making sure that there is a better flow, and at the same time there is no any congestion. We do know that in the afternoon around 3 and 4, we will reach the apex of the day, but still from where we are sitting with the stakeholders, especially with the Mpumalanga traffic on the corridor, we are very much confident that we won't have the congestion that is uncontrollable.
So, Michelle, the 7-kilometer space that the Commissioner is talking about here is a point where they actually make sure that all those who are traveling, especially those who are using minibus taxis, their passports are stamped at that particular point just 7 kilometers before they reach here, the Lebombo border post. So that makes things easy because they now get escorted as a group, and then they don't have to wait for a long time at the border post, which makes it easy in as far as preventing congestion is concerned. So they said that they'll activate that particular operation at around 2 p.m., which is about 45 minutes that is left. But of course, they'll also be guided by the traffic volumes, which we see that at the present moment, as much as we are seeing more and more vehicles coming through, but the situation is not bad at all, Michelle.
No, it isn't, Mweli, but I was just going to just point out that there behind you, when we started this conversation, there was maybe one or maybe two cars, and the queue has extended quite significantly just over the past few minutes that we've been chatting. Are we expecting, even just over the next few hours, as we sort of go into Good Friday tomorrow, that those volumes will pick up quite significantly?
Definitely, Michelle. As much as the BMA has made it clear that they are not expecting it to be as hectic as it was before, but there is that huge expectation to say that there will be more people visible at the Lebombo border post, especially after 2 p.m. And as we are rightly putting it, when we started in the morning, when we arrived, it was very, very calm. But as we move around even now, we can see that more and more trucks are coming through with different loads, but we're also seeing more and more people who are using light motor vehicles heading to Mozambique. I must say that compared to what we saw during the festive season last year, Michelle, people are a bit more calm, especially mainly because of the situation in Mozambique improving. But according to the Border Management Authority, they are saying that they will monitor the situation by actually being in contact with their counterparts in Mozambique, because you may never know, things might change, especially because there's been still those isolated incidents inside Mozambique. But when you look at this corridor at the present moment, they are happy with the situation. Remember the previous time, Michelle, truck owners were complaining to say they are losing about 10 million rand because of their trucks being stuck on the queue here. In fact, we spoke to people who are spending about 5 days just waiting to cross the border into Mozambique. So it was a painful situation, and the living conditions of those truck drivers are also a huge concern, even for the Human Rights Commission. So that's something that officials here at the border post are saying they want to avoid by any means necessary. And at this point in time, we can actually say that they are actually managing the situation, but we'll see as to what happens at around 2 p.m. or around 3 p.m., where it's expected that there'll be more and more vehicles coming through the border, Michelle.
And what about you, Mweli? Might you just pop over to Mozambique for the Easter weekend?
Maybe now, but when you look at what happened last time, it wasn't safe at all. And it's quite tempting, Michelle, but I'm not taking that offer, not unless we have confirmed with my line managers there to say I can cross. So for now, it's at my own risk. So
and not unless I'm coming with you. All right, Mweli Masilela, I'll see what I can do back in Johannesburg. Thanks very much indeed for that update. He's live just there from the Lebombo border post.